just want to share a story about a guy that we had in our cigar group. And in the cigar group, people will go out, they'll meet up, they'll organize a day, and they'll go out and they'll have a few drinks, they'll have a few cigars, and they will talk about cigars. This is what you have in these communities, in these groups where people, love cigars. They'll come together and they'll just talk about cigars. But they like to meet up outside, you see, not just on Facebook or not just on WhatsApp and so on. And I remember we had this guy that he joined because he loved the conversation, he loved the attention. Like people would just, oh, how are you, mate, and all that on the group. But when we had, and sometimes we'll do video calls. And I remember and then he got accepted in that and into the group. And of course, people naturally will go and look at your picture, right? And unfortunately, this guy, he had a handicap, and his arm wasn't, he didn't have like 5 fingers the way we have. He had like small finger sort of thing, and he couldn't really walk. A young chap, you see, and slowly, he sort of, it was pushed away, you see. Didn't really have many people talking to him. And I remember that I accepted him, this happened years ago, and I accepted him on Facebook, and I started talking to him, and I looked at his pictures. I knew. I said, oh, I said, who cares? I want to talk. He wants to talk to me, I'll talk to him. And I remember he phoned me, video called me, and then I started talking to him, and I had a cigar, and he says, we started introducing ourselves, right? I could see he was in a bed, right? But I ignored all that, right? I just thought, I'm just going to talk to him like a man to man. And nothing, about his condition, anything like that. So, and then I smoked the cigar and I was talking to him, and he was in the video, and he would start talking for about 40 minutes about life, and asked me about my family. And of course, I knew, he didn't have a family, he was on his own. Well, he had his mom and dad, they all looked after him, but he didn't have a girlfriend, didn't have children. And at the end, he said to me, because he had certain times he had to go to bed, you see, so it was quite late at that time, and he said, well, I think that's time, he says, for me to go. And I realized, right, and I was talking, at the end he says to me, you know what, mate, he says, thank you very much for talking to me. And I said, well, there's nothing to thank me about. I said, we have a conversation. I mean, you're interested in cigars, interested about life, and you ask me a question. And he says to me, no one wants to talk to me. I said, you're the only guy that answered my call and pressed to see the video call. Most people refuse to even look at him, and I said, I thought to myself, what? And he says, you're the only guy that accepted my video and took the time, even though you knew the state, even though you knew how I am, you took the time. And a part of me, you see, I've always had this, I've always felt like we don't choose where we're born, right? We don't choose in what body we're born. We don't choose in what country we're born. We don't choose any of that. We're just born. And then we land here, and then we just have to survive, right? And some of us were lucky because we can be born with a normal face, I would say, and have some, and people look at us thinking, and some other people are not born with that kind of, and then they get judged because of that, you see. But you don't know what's inside their heart. So, and then he said to me, maybe we can talk. He says, next week as well. He says, maybe you can do the same time and all that. And I said, yes. And the next week I spoke to him again. And I just made his day. Because he had no friends. He had no you know, he smoked a cigar at that time, and it made him so happy. Like, people realize, oh, this and that, like, he'd be so judgmental in terms of, oh, he smoked this. No, you know what? That cigar, when he was talking to me and he had that cigar, it made him so happy. It meant so much to him. It meant to him a lot more than those preaching about, oh, you should do this or you should do that. It meant a lot more. It gave him some power. It gave him a little bit of confidence, a bit of courage, that I'm able to talk to someone normal. I'm able to have a cigar while we're on a video call. You know, it gave him a bit of power. It gave him a bit of strength. And I was glad that, you know, that's when I've realized, I realized that it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long. And then someone messaged me and he says to me, oh, you spoke to this guy. One of the guys in the group, he says, you spoke to this guy and, you know, his condition, all that. And I said, yeah, bro, I know. I said, did you speak to him? He says, no. And I thought to myself, right, so you didn't speak to him, but he messaged me. It says, I saw his pictures and all that. And I thought, but this is when you realize that people will not do that because maybe they're scared, or maybe they don't have the courage because they think, oh, what if I speak to this person? What are other people going to think about me? What if I'm being seen with this person? What are other people going to think about me? You see, this is another thing I realized. So they're not going to do that because they're afraid of what other people think about them. I found this funny how you care, how you care so much about what people think, but you care so little about them. So you care about what they think about you, but the moment something happens to those people, you don't care at all. So it's a strange one, eh? Like, it's a really strange one. So yeah, this is the story that I wanted to share to you. And I think from this story, maybe you can learn the fact that you should never care about what people think, and try and speak to everyone. Do that because you don't know what they're going through. You don't really know. And if we are doing this, then you are helping these people. You're giving them a bit of courage. You're giving them a bit of confidence. You're giving them a bit of strength that they need. Because the rest of us, we're fine. We got that part. We got what we need. We don't need anything else, you see. So we got that. We're good. But let's try and do something for someone else as well. Let's try and help them as well. I hope you like this video. And again, 8 minutes of talking. So I hope that some people are watching this. I'm not sure if they're gonna watch 8 minutes, but I'm still gonna do them, and eventually maybe these videos are gonna reach the right people that maybe they need to hear a few words of encouragement, and that's what I'm here for. I want to share stories. I want to share lessons, I suppose, that I've learned, or that I can teach other people. I suppose, I don't know, like people can learn from me. I learn from other people. People can learn from me. So I'm never going to talk about the things that I've done and things like this. This is one thing that people don't like, is when you talk about your achievements. Never talk about, I did this, I did that. These people should know who I am. What a waste of, like. So I'm going to make another one and talk about. So I hope you subscribe. And I'll see you in the next video.